dynamic routing. Now, dynamic routing is an alternate method of routing, and this method uses layer 3 protocols to automatically find neighboring routers and creates or updates routing table on routers. This method is easy to configure and maintain. But however, this method is resource intensive. That is, they require more CPU process, memory and bandwidth of router. Dynamic routing protocols are used in large networks. So as we have seen the static routing, configuring, managing, troubleshooting is very difficult if you are having a large network. If you are having a small network of 2 3 4 networks, then it is very good and very fast routing, static routing, which you can configure easily and you can just manage easily. And also it will not put any overhead on routers, because routers don't have to do anything, they don't have to think anything, because everything you have you're configuring manually. But in dynamic routing, what we do it by using the protocols, layer 3 protocols. So static routing we configured manually, and if it is a big network, then it is very difficult. So for the big networks, we use dynamic routing, where we don't have to configure it manually every network. We will use the protocol, and the protocol will do what? It will find a way automatically. It will find its own way and it will find it automatically. Now, because it do find the route automatically, that how to reach the destination, it will find the route and path automatically. So for that, it do what? It do lots of calculation and lots of processing, and for that it is very resource intensive. That is, it will require more CPU process, it will require more CPU process and memory and bandwidth of router. That means it will put lots of load on your router. So the big the network is, and the big the load is. So how the big the how much big your network, that much load you will your router will get. But still it is easy to configure, not like the static routing. In other hand, you configuring the static routing is very difficult, and even if you want to remove a static routing, it is also difficult. For example, we have configured here in this 4 routers, we have configured the static routing. Now if I want to remove the static routing, so it is not like I will remove it in one command. I have to remove it one by one, like like the way I added it, same the way I have to remove it. For example, in this first router, if you check show IP route to get the routing table, so these two networks are connected directly. Then all these other networks I have added manually. That means one by one I have added all the networks. Now if I want to remove them, if I want to remove this, so I have to remove it one by one. And that means what? If I want to remove them, then I have to go back to the config mode. Now in Cisco IOS, what we do, if we want to reconfigure anything, we have to remove the configuration. Then what we do run with no. That means with the command we just give no. Before the command we give no. So for configuring the IP route, the command was IP route, and then if I want to configure this, so I did configure it like this, that IP route, then network, then subnet, then the gateway. So this was the command to configure that route. Now I want to remove that route. So what I have to do, at the beginning of the command I will mention no, and then enter. Now that route is removed. So same, I remove this route, you have to remove all the routes which you have configured, and that you will do one by one. So after this I will do remove no IP route 40.0.0 with this subnet mask and with this gateway, and you see you have to type each network one by one, and it will take lots of time. So that is what the difficulties of this static routing. Configuring is also difficult, removing is also difficult. I'm using up key to reuse the previous command. You can see all the previous commands. So I want to reuse the previous command, and then I'm removing it by changing the network address because all the other informations are same. Then we have the other that is different than this. So IP, no IP root 172.16.0.0, it is class B, and then default gateway. One more, no IP root 192.168.1.0 with this subnet mask, with this gateway. So I remove all the networks one by one. Now when I check show IP root, so now all the static routes are removed now, and only our router knows only the connected networks. So it is very difficult now. So it is very difficult to add the networks and also to remove the network in static routing. And in other hand, when we do the dynamic routing, it is very easy to configure. Very easy to configure, easy to remove also. So static routing is difficult, then dynamic routing configuration is easy. Now dynamic routing protocols are classified into two categories. So when we talk about dynamic protocols, so they are configured, they are classified into two categories. The first category is called interior gateway protocols. We can say IGP. Now these interior gateway protocols are used for routing with a single routing domain. A routing domain is a domain with the same protocols and policies. Now routing domain, now domain means what? We can say it's a single company which is having the same protocols, same policies. So we can say it is like a single domain. In other company, they may have a different protocols, different policies, so they can use a different domain. So actually when you configure the network for your company or organizations, that means you're configuring it for the single domain. And when you configure it with your single domain, that means all your routers, it does not matter your routers, your networks are in one country or other country, it is considered your own private WAN. Like when you connect your network, when you connect your router from one country to the other country, that they will still consider as your single network. It is your single WAN connection, it is your private WAN. So it will consider your interior gateway, it is your single domain. Now why it is called single domain? Because sometime you need to connect and you need to do the communication from other companies. So if you want to do the communication with the different companies, like your company is there, your network is there, your domain is there, it is your own network, your own domain, and sometime you want to communicate with the other domain. Now that time this interior gateway and exterior gateway will affect. Otherwise you will not see the effect of this interior gateway, and the second type is exterior gateway. So interior gateway, that means it is configured within your domain boundary, within your domain boundaries, where you are using the same protocol with the same policies, because you're having your own company environment, you're having your own company network. For example, like you're having one office in suppose in US, you're having one office in UK, you're having one office in Africa, you're having one office in Asia, and you have connected those offices through the WAN connection, which is your lease line. Now these all are very far connected through the WAN network, but these all share what? Your own company. The proprietary and owner is you yourself. and that means you're using the same policies, same protocols. So it will be considered in IGP, that means Interior Gateway Protocol. So in here, in this environment, the protocols which you configure for the dynamic routing, it is protocol, these protocols called interior gateway protocols. So they work interior, that means they work internally, they work within the domain. Same as you can have the other companies also, where they are having their own environment, their own policies, routers and protocols. They can have configured their own interior gateway protocols. So they are having their own domain interior gateway, and they are having configured their own interior gateway protocols. So the protocols which we configure internally in this internal domain, so this will be considered the domain, this will be considered the different domain, this is the different domain, because the owner company is different, they are using different protocols, properties, policies. So these are the different domain and this is the different domain. So the protocol which used within the domain, that is called IGP protocol, that is considered as IGP protocols, interior gateway protocols. And these are those protocols. These protocols are like RIP. RIP means routing information protocol. We have interior gateway routing protocol, IGRP. Then we have enhanced IGRP, that is enhanced interior gateway routing protocol. So interior gateway routing protocol is the old one, and now we have enhanced one. So nobody uses this IGRP. IGRP is like, it is not used now, because we are having what, enhanced IGRP, that is EIGRP. Then we have OSPF. OSPF means open shortest path first. Then also we have intermediate system, that is also we call ISIS. So these protocols considered as a interior gateway protocol that will be configured within the domain boundary. Then we have this exterior gateway protocol, which is called EGP. Now exterior gateway protocol are used for routing between two or more routing domains, and it also helps to routing between multiple routing protocols. And the example is BGP. It is called Border Gateway Protocol. So what it do actually, it do the routing between different routing domains. That means you see this, here we have one domain, this is our one domain, and this is our second domain. Now in case we want to communicate between these two domains, now they are different domain, they are using their own interior protocols, and they are having different domains. Interior protocol, that means maybe they are they are using EIGRP, RIP, and maybe they are using here, these guys are using IGRP or OSPF. So these is different protocols, these are different protocols, they are using different policies, they are using different policies. Now if in case we want to communicate between them, we want to connect between these two routers, two routing domains, so then we use a routers here which connect them together, and on these routers we configure that exterior gateway protocol, which is called BGP. That is BGP means Border Gateway Protocol, and that is the only protocol which is exterior gateway protocol, which configured outside the boundary of the domain, routing domain, and its job is to combine, to do the communication between two different routing domains, and also it can be used to communicate between two or multiple routing protocols. So these two are the classification of our routing protocols, IGP and EGP. Then dynamic routing technologies. Now dynamic routing technologies are methods where various routing protocols are used for creating and maintaining routing tables. Now, as I said, these routing protocols do what? They automatically find their way. They dynamically find their way, they dynamically create the routing table. So the technology means the way they create the routing table and maintain the routing table. Now there are various methods of routing technologies, and like what, distance vector and link state are the most common or most important. Distance vector and link state. So some of the protocols use distance vector technology and some of the protocols use link state technology. Now each routing protocol uses different routing technology. As I said, some of them use link state and some of them use distance vector. Now what is the meaning of distance vector? Distance vector routing protocol uses Bellman-Ford algorithm to calculate and exchange the routing information. Now these routing protocols sends complete routing table at regular interval to their neighbors. For example, RIP, RIP and IGRP. These protocols are concerned with distance and vector, that is direction, of destination network, and these protocols are simple to configure and less memory intensive. These are very simple to configure and very less in memory intensive, like it will put very low load. Then link state is very heavy and it put lots of load on your router, and these protocols do not scale well in large network. But the drawback for the distance vector protocol is what? If you are having a large network, it is not easy for this distance vector to work. It will not work properly in a large network. So when you are having a large network, then you can use this link state routing protocol, link state technology. So this link state routing protocols offer what? Greater performance improvement and convergence than distance vector routing protocols. It gives you the greater performance, fast improvement and convergence. Convergence means what? If your one path is down, so finding the other path. Remember, this dynamic protocol do what? Dynamic routing, this protocol do what? Automatically find the other path. If you lose one path to reach the destination, then automatically it will find out the other path. So the time it takes between finding the one path, losing the path and getting the other path, it is called convergence time. That means the time which is the destination network is not available. When you lose a path, your network is not available, then it is have to be calculated the network, then it will find out the other path. So the time it takes to find the other path, it is called convergence time. That convergence time is very big in this RIP, in this distance vector protocol. But in link state protocol, it can do it very quickly. Then link state routing protocol uses advanced routing algorithm to calculate and exchange the routing information. These protocols are more memory and processor intensive than distance vector. So it is because it uses the advanced algorithm and do more calculation, then it puts lots of load on your router and it is very heavy on your router. Now it uses what? It uses the Dijkstra algorithm, or we can say it is what? Shortest path first, SPF algorithm for routing distance. Example of these protocols are OSPF and ISIS. These are the examples of this link state protocols, link state technology, which uses the link state technology. Then link state routing protocols are concerned with link status of interface, then distance. The distance vector, why it is called distance vector? Because it depends on the distance and the direction of the network. So basically it depends on the distance of the network. But the link state is called link state because it is depending on the status of your interface, not the distance. So rather than the sending entire routing table, they send link state database, and according to each router it develops its own routing table. And link state protocol does not send periodic update. like distance vector. They send update when there is change in the protocol, in the technology, that is trigger update. Now we will talk about what is this means when we see the protocols one by one. So next we will see those protocols one by one, and we will configure those protocols one by one, how they work and how we configure them, and what are the problems with those routing protocols. For example, RIP, IGRP, OSPF, EIGRP.